get to record. Well, welcome everyone to this very special Wednesday session. My special guest is Jean-Louis Fargier, and I'm just going to share a little bit about him before I turn it over. And I'm so excited for today because it's also going to be very interactive, which is going to be fun. So make sure you have your animals with you if you can. My two dogs are over here. I put little beds for them so they could join us. So let's get started. So Jean-Louis Fargier is a pioneering artist, researcher, and the co-creator of Biomusic One, an innovative audio-active process that explores the impact of sonic vibrations on living beings. As an accomplished author, composer, and music producer, Jean-Louis has applied his diverse expertise to create 8 albums that incorporate this unique technology. As the founder of the independent label L'Oriana Music, Jean-Louis is committed to producing and distributing Biomusic One worldwide. His background as a performing musician and therapist enriches his current role as a speaker and facilitator of stress release and increased conscious awareness courses. A lifelong student of the physics of consciousness, Jean-Louis continues to expand our understanding of sound's potential to transform and heal. His multifaceted career spans from music creation to wellness advocacy, making him a leading figure in the intersection of sound, science, and holistic well-being, and also making him a perfect guest for us and everything we do. I think you're going to find that Biomusic One is a perfect accompaniment to what we do with our animal Reiki practice. So Jean-Louis, without further ado, I am going to turn this over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Leah, for this, first of all, for organizing that session and also for such a beautiful introduction. And I hope you can all bear my French accent. I hope you will be able to understand me clearly. I lived in the UK for over 30 years, but the French accent doesn't leave you, unfortunately, however much I practice. Thanks ever so much for being with us today. The first thing I want to do is to invite you to have, first of all, 2 hours of peaceful time for yourself, making sure nobody is going to disturb you, and of course, apart, of course, from your animal friends. And if you have, normally we do it with headphones, but obviously because you are with your animal friends, you could not use headphones. But to be honest with you, it doesn't make any difference. You will see why. And your animal friends will be able to feel very quickly and very well the rebalancing effect of Biomusic One, even if you listen to the music on headphones. So if you have some, I think personally, as human beings, you may have a better experience. So feel free to fetch for one while I'm going to introduce the whole evening. Well, no, evening for me and morning for you. The whole session, the outline basically of what we're going to do together for a couple of hours. First of all, I'm going to start. I've got my iPad just next to me, and I'm going to start a couple of albums that are going to accompany us in inaudible mode. I'm sure you will be aware that on a quantum level, as long as I play this music here, even if you don't hear it, the sonic vibration will flow, and they will flow to where you are at the moment. So, we always say there are 2 things in life we can't do. We shouldn't be doing 2 or more things together at the same time in life, but except for women, of course. But there are 2 things that we should always do in our life at the same time, is being actors of our life and at the same time observers of what we do, what we think, what we say, what we do. Observe the impact of this, and so I invite you to live this, to practice this really very important. I call it a key of life. This very important key of life. I really invite you, if you don't do it already in your daily life, to practice it tonight with us. I will be explaining. There will be times where I will be explaining things about our wellness process. There will be other times where you will be focusing on what through sonic meditations, what Biomusic One can do for you and for your animal friends. And then there will be a a third party in in a third part, sorry, in the session where we're going to share basically what experiences you've been going through, and I will rebound as well on your comments. We will use the chat for that, and then we will end with specific explanation on how you could acquire Biomusic One if you wish to do so, to help you in your daily life and to help your animal friends in their daily life as well. Um, so, if you're nice and comfortable now, I'm going to start by giving some brief explanation about what we do. Leah explained very well, introduced me very well, so I don't need to give more information about this. What I will do is really give a brief introduction about what biomusic is. Um, as Leah said, I used to be a musician. I used to play trombone, guitar, and bass guitar. Um, I used to be a therapist, and I've always been passionate about living consciously. And I followed a lot of courses throughout my my youth and more after that. And although I was living those three passions, if I could say at the same time in parallel, I could feel that I was not really myself. I was not in my place. And as soon as I realized this, suddenly it was like a dick click in me. It was like a little voice saying, why don't you use your music to help others, rather than just being on one-to-one? This is not really your thing. And my thing really was to find a way of helping people, helping themselves. And music as a medium is one of the best tool to use. Um, and when I got this message, I also knew inside myself that I couldn't do it on my own. And so we needed to be two. So the message was very clear, and I let life inspire me to direct me to the right partner. And basically, I used to be living in London at the time, and my co-writer and co-worker with Biomusic One lived in France, in the south of France, in Biarritz, and the chances of meeting and working together were really slim, as you can imagine. I've never been to Biarritz before, but I just followed my intuition. I kept hearing, go to Biarritz. I never didn't know that town, never been there. And when the time was ripe, when I felt, yeah, this is the right time to go, I went. And there was a wellness fair just the weekend I arrived, which was unplanned, totally unplanned. I went to the wellness fair, spent a great day. And when I was leaving, someone stopped me and I recognized it was the organizer. And he said to me, did you have a good day? Did you enjoy your day? And I said, yeah, sure. It was really nice. I met a lot of really great people, but I didn't find what I was looking for. And when I was saying that, I was thinking, why are you saying that? You just say politely goodbye to you. And but he stopped me from going out. He looked at me in the eyes and he said, "Come back tomorrow at 12. I know who you need to meet." So I trusted him. Went back the next day, and he introduced me to Robert, my creative partner now, and we've been together since. Been working together. I mean, ever since. That's over 30 years now of collaboration. And the reason I'm telling this little story is not just to tell a story, is because you will see it's very much in line with what biomusic is about and what the dynamic of life it will help um, bring forth in you and in your life and in your pet's life as well. Well, our pets, our animal friends already know that, and they're a good example to us, but we don't always see that. But Biomusic One is a very, very good tool to help us connect to ourselves, um, be aware of where we are and what we carry within ourselves and how we could actually express it fully. Um, and we'll see how and why this is possible. But if we allow ourselves to tune in to this to ourselves, to our deep self, then life becomes honestly like a big red carpet. Even if we have lots of trouble, or even if you have situation that seems to be problematic and so on, we can very easily uh, reach a stage of being that enables us to stay at peace and deal with it in a creative way. And this is what happened to me. I've always lived my life in a very intuitive way, but that doesn't mean one does things without, you know, uh, spontaneously without thinking about it. Obviously, it took me several weeks before I actually, from the day I had a message I needed to go to Biarritz to the day I actually went, I really tested life. I tried to make sure this is the right message for me. So you don't deep dive into anything, any message you get or anything you get, anything you hear. One has to be um, have to have this scientific mind in a way where you test things, you don't take them for granted, you make sure they true to you, and um, and that's the best way to move forward, really. So it's a mixture of always using your mind, but also using your inner self, your intuition, your connection with the divine to actually follow your path. It's always a balance. So, um, just to give you very briefly what Biomusic One is about, uh, I'll give you some numbers. Musicians love numbers. So I will give you some quick numbers to put things into perspective. Biomusic One nowadays is two wellness processes. You will see why. We have created two. We've got 8 complementary albums because they complement each other. An Inch album is on the go at the moment. It's 30 years of research, 20 years for the first process, and 10 years for the second one. We have probably over 30 or maybe 40 scientific experiment tests, observations on the ground that demonstrate the beneficial effects of the wellness process. We have probably over 7,000 testimonials nowadays. And you will be invited to join in those testimonials later on after we do the sonic meditations. You will see why we will use the chat to express ourselves after leaving the rebalancing session. But I'll go back to this later on. And there's about roughly 300,000 users in the world at the moment. And I've been around the world, well, mainly Europe, I must say, also North America, Canada, mainly, and Russia at the time when Russia was more friendly. Um, we did over 500 conferences and workshops. So that gave us a lot of experience and a lot of background on what biomusic can actually do. And I've been on more than 70 TV show, radio show, and we had also a lot of publications on the international level, sorry, to talk about Biomusic One. And there are a few books as well that talk about our process, and notably some books about how to protect ourselves from electromagnetic pollution, which is one of the aspects of Biomusic One. So there we go. And there is one app as well, which is for iOS and Android, but we'll see that at the end. So that's to put things into perspective. And Biomusic One first album came out actually 20 years ago in 2004. We finished the first series in 2010, and we started the new series, Series 2, in 2020. And we've got 2 albums now, and the third album is on the go, as I said. So you see, we're progressing. There will be 6 albums in Series 2. And if I can live long enough, there will also be 6 albums in Series 3. Basically, we're working on body, mind, and spirit. So this is the whole picture of Biomusic One. So what is it? Put simply, Biomusic One is basically a wellness process to enhance our well-being and also to help us increase our conscious awareness. That's basically what it's all about. Um, how does it work? I'm going to explain it very briefly because the idea here is to really have experience it. So I'm going to explain very briefly how it works. And if you want to know more, you can always go to the website, biomusic1.com to find out more, read more about it. But basically, it is not possible to actually put in evidence what are the sound waveform, not the sound waveform, but the unified field of sound waveform. This is how we should really call them, technically speaking, but we call them also sonic vibration. Live sonic vibration is a lot simpler. And it's not possible to measure them because they act at a very subtle level. But it is possible to actually measure on the biological level the difference it makes when we use them and when we don't use them. Um, and that's why we have so many scientific experiments showing the beneficial effects. And basically, what can be very easily demonstrated is impact on water in the body and in the air when biomusic spread, when there is diffusion of the sound wave from biomusic one. And basically, the first impact is that we have an impact of revitalizing water, restructuring water. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Yeah, everybody's familiar, yeah? Okay, great. So we revitalize water when we bath into the frequency field of biomusic one, and at the same time, the process is going to protect this revitalized water from any stress factor that would actually destabilize this revitalized water. And the stress factor could be pers memorial, personal, relational, environmental, all kind of stress factors, basically. When we are under stress, basically, what happens is that the revitalized water, which has a specific sound waveform, basically this revitalized water is destructured. And this is what creates stress at the cellular level. But when you have biomusic one spreading in an environment, even if you have stress affecting you at the mental level, for example, I don't know, you've heard about someone having an accident or being ill or losing their jobs or whatever, something very strong happening in their life or in your life, this could be creating a big preoccupation for you at the mind level. And normally, when we are preoccupied, when we worry about something, then we destabilize this structured water in our body, and we create stress. But when you are when you bath in the biomusic one fields, and this phenomenon doesn't happen. Your mind could be preoccupied or worried, but at the cellular level, there is no impact. And this is what makes all the difference. Because as soon as and that's why I invited you to actually uh, uh, pay attention to yourself while I'm speaking to you, because at the moment you should be benefiting from the rebalancing effect of biomusic one. And basically, what happens is that your body can feel a difference in the state of being, and instead of being in let's call it surviving mode, where it's constantly fighting against some kind of stress in your daily life, it moves into a living mode, full living mode, because it doesn't need to spend its energy fighting against stress. So it's got all its resources to actually start a process of liberation, liberating anything, any stress that are settled within you. It could be, for example, from transgenerational, it could be from past, like childhood trauma, it could be from anything happening in your life, any relation, and any personal thing that affects you. It could be anything. And basically, your body knows what it can free and when it should be freed. So basically, when we use biomusic one, a liberating process occurs, and it's beyond ourselves. Our body actually um, uh, auto auto generate a liberating process without us having to worry about it or control it or trying to understand it or anything like that. The only thing we need to do is to pay attention to ourselves and see what changes occur in us. For example, something very concrete, very real, maybe I have a problem with someone and I don't know how to express it. I don't know what to say to him or her to make things better. So things stay a bit, conflictual, whatever. And then suddenly, after using biomusic one for a while, the the memory that created that way of functioning in myself are freed. they liberated. And what happened? Well, suddenly I have the the intuition, the inspiration, and I found a moment to actually express myself as I need it and when I need it. And funnily enough, when I do that, it turns out that most of the time, yes, it is the right moment, and yes, the person with whom I was in conflict is ready to listen to me, and things sort themselves out, very simply. And it's just an example. But everything goes like this for our life. It could be the same thing with food, the way I feed myself, the work I do, how I do it. Maybe I have a project, I couldn't find a way of starting it, and suddenly everything falls into place. Why? Because I've liberated my circuits, different circuits in the body. Information flows, it flows freely and clearly, because when you revitalize water, you get a better flow of information in the body. And when you protect against stress, you get a much clearer information that flows in the body. So it's a lot easier for us to actually um, become aware of who we are, what we have in ourselves that we can offer to the world, and how we can express it. You know, and this reconnection to ourselves is the key to that. And that's what Biomusic One does. So we have a well-being effect for sure. Some people sleep better. Some people, for example, have more vitality. They regain the joy of living, things like that. And it can go even much further in the well-being state. But at the same time, because of that well-being increasing slowly or quickly in us, depending on the different aspects of ourselves, I'm becoming more aware of myself, and I'm becoming more aware of what what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, and what I'm doing. Is it really relevant? Is it really in resonance with me? Am I in agreement with this, or am I not? And usually when we are not, it's because we only express past um, past let's say we only express um, a side of us that belongs to the past. We are the manifestation of all the memories that we have accumulated. And when we find ourselves in conflict with life in any way, it's simply because uh, uh, some old beliefs or some um, reaction that we had and our subconscious mind is taking as truth is actually controlling us. And basically, because this is controlling us or influencing us, we react to situation. But if we didn't have that, never would we react to a situation. The situation would come up, we acknowledge it, and we deal with it in a very creative way, in a very simple and creative way. And in fact, when we take that attitude, life very quickly inspires us to actually co-create and transform the situation to our advantage and the advantage of everyone involved. Um, so this is what biomusic is about. It's changing that conflictual duality into complementary duality. We live in a world of duality, but in fact, we live in a world of triality, if I could say. Um, when you have two sides opposing each other, when you if you stay on a conflictual mode, nothing happens. It's just conflict and pain and trouble and so on. But when you understand you have a responsibility in that and you co-create with life, there is always a third point that is created by the two opposite sides, which gives a solution to that apparently conflictual situation. And and that's what it's all about. So biomusic one help us really to I come back to this way of approaching life where I act and I observe myself. Then this is a very good way of actually um, taking note of whatever I think, I say, or I do is having, what impact is it having on me, on people around me, and on my environment. And that's what it's all about. And this is when we start to become really responsible for ourselves. Because for me, the greatest responsibility of all is what do I choose to feed? Um, I'm going to explain myself. I see human beings, but also all living beings as vectors of information in life when we incarnate. We become vectors of information. And we live in a matrix where you always have two sides in balance. Let's say, to simplify it, light and darkness. It's just an image, okay? We're not going to go into details. And it's just a balance of them. We need both to actually become aware of what life is about and what we can do with this, with our life in this life. And uh, basically, um, oh, I lost track about what I was going to say with that balance. Um, uh, it doesn't matter. It will come back to me. Because when I went deep into it, it just went. So maybe it's not the right time to explain that. I'll come back to it later. Uh, oh, what was I? Why did it stop? Why did it stop? Why was I explaining that? Yes, it was because of that responsibility notion. Okay, I'm back to it now. Um, yes, we have to, probably because saying this is going to be challenging. Um, just don't listen to it with your mind, but really listen to it with yourself, with your heart. We have two forces that rebalance themselves in the matrix where we live, and depending on how we live our life, we either feed one or the other. It's very simple, and if I live my life in a conscious way, chances are that I will transmute things for the side that goes in the direction of evolution of life, and if I don't, then I will transmute for the side that goes for the involution of life, for the destruction, creation or destruction. And this is really what matters. It doesn't really matter what is the outcome of a situation. It's really how do I live it, and you all know that. But how do I live it really is down to what am I going to feed? Am I going to feed creativity or am I going to feed destruction? And basically, it depends very much on how we approach things. You know, as soon as we react to a situation and we make a problem out of it, we serve, let's say, it's very simplified, and I don't want to make things too simplified, but we're going to serve some kind of like dark side of ourselves. But if we find a way of detaching ourselves from the situation and become creative, then we're going to serve the light side of ourselves. It's very caricatural, but this is down to that. And with biomusic one, it's a lot easier to actually feel within ourselves where we stand, you know, what do I who do I serve by what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, and what I'm doing. That's what it's about. And funnily enough, I'm sure you've observed it, but the other kingdom, the animal kingdom, but the vegetable kingdom as well, and also the mineral kingdom, um, do that naturally. You know, they don't need to think about it. But we're different. We have a different way of functioning, and uh, we need to go through this process to actually help consciousness always evolve. We could say that animal, plants, and minerals are perfect in the way they function. They're pure love, they're perfect. We are not. We need to learn that somehow. And that's what makes consciousness change and evaluate all the time. So that's our responsibility. And Biomusic One is a very good tool to help us go through that in the best conscious way as possible. Okay, so just to go back to the process, there are two ways to benefit from it, two key ways, and you're going to be experiencing both. You're experiencing the first one at the moment. This is a mode that we called inaudible mode. It sprays, the frequency it spreads, sorry, and but you don't hear them. And you could do that very easily at home. With the app, you play the music, you put the volume very low, or if you hear it, you can put some um, uh, headphones or and you don't put them on. Basically, you leave them on the table, the volume very low, That's enough for the frequency to spread, but you don't hear the music. It's called the inaudible mode and continuous mode because you could even put an album in repeat mode and you don't worry about it. You get on with your life or with your sleep. It's very good to put it during the sleep. And in this way, you have the support of Biomusic One in a continuous way. You can carry on your activities not worrying about this, but if you pay attention to yourself, you will see that they become easier or you're more aware of how to do them and so on and so forth. You have more vitality, you don't get tired. These are beneficial side effects, but you don't worry about it. And meanwhile, your body is liberating itself from all the different stress factors that become a priority for it to release. Okay, that's one way of using Biomusic One. And the other way, which we'll do in a minute, is to actually do a conscious listening session. In this case, we sit down, close our eyes, and we pay attention to what happened in my, I pay attention to what happened in my body while I listen to the music. And this way we are going to accelerate and optimize the rebalancing effect. So when we go, this way of using biomusic can be used, for example, when we go through difficult period or we have something very important to deal with, and we're not too sure how to manage it properly, then a conscious listening session can be a very good tool, very good help to actually accelerate the liberation of the stress that affects us and enables us to actually deal with it in a more conscious way. So these are the two key ways of using Biomusic One. And there are also moments that we recommend in particular. Sleep, as I said, sleep is a time when the body is resourcing itself. Um, and also it's a time where you are most vulnerable. So let's say you live in a stressful environment or you have a lot of neighbors and you're susceptible, for example, to electromagnetic pollution. And for example, you have 10 neighbors who never turn off their Wi-Fi. Well, maybe you're going to be affected by this. If you have Biomusic One, this will be neutralized, so you have more chances of getting restful sleep. So during sleep is very a key moment. But another key moment is during meals, because as I said earlier on, we revitalize water with Biomusic One. And if you prepare and eat your meal with Biomusic One, all the food and drinks will be revitalized. And it's been shown that when you eat and drink revitalized food and drinks, basically you integrate them much better. You digest better. You benefit from them a lot better. So during meal is a very good time. During work, of course, also because you have more attention, more concentration, more creativity, less tiredness. So it's very good help. You could use it during sport activities. You become a lot more aware of the impact of the movement in the body. And in fact, we use a lot, Biomusic One is used a lot by people who practice yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, or martial arts. But you could also use it. We've been working closely with some sports people doing sport at a high level, and it helps them a lot to focus and to improve their performances. So sport is a very good way. Driving also, especially if you do long distance, it's a very good way of being relaxed but also alert. And also, if you're in a traffic jam, not to be annoyed, or not to let yourself be affected. So this is a very good thing to use when you drive. And the thing I kept for last is during intimate intercourse. Biomusic One is really a good way to become aware of everything that happens at more subtle levels. And also when you are with your partner, um, very often people, or not very often, but it can happen that people actually get together, and it's a way for them to release stress. But what do? They exchange stress. And with Biomusic One, because there is a neutralization of stress between people and neutralization of the stress in the environment, you are in the ideal condition to actually connect with each other and learn to feel each other at very subtle levels. So it's a very good, you'll see that series two, the first three album, I Love One, I Love Two, and I Love Three, they're not called I Love for nothing, are very good to help us experiment this. I Love One, for example, is a very good album to become aware of Kundalini and awaken Kundalini in us. And it works through all this energetic center. And I Love Two works very well through all the bodies. And again, it helps us to become aware of that and to experiment um, intimate relationship in a much deeper way. So there you go. That's a different time in the day. You're going to say to me, "Well, then that's all day long." Uh, but no, you don't have to. You could choose. You could choose, and you don't really need to play by music all the time. The idea is not to be dependent on something. On the contrary, the beginning, of course, most people use it regularly and a few hours a day because you don't have to worry about it. You let play and you get on with your life. So doesn't require any effort unless you want to really stop and listen and do a meditation. But this is not an effort either. You let your body liberate itself. So there's nothing else to do. But um, so you could choose. You could choose the best time of the day for you to listen to it, because the idea is to actually strengthen your body. Let's go back to, for example, being electro hypersensitive. Um, the more you're going to be using biomusic one, the more you strengthen your immune system, basically, and the more your body will be able to cope with this kind of stress. You see, so the idea is not to be dependent on a tool, but to use it consciously when you really need it. And the more you're going to be using it, the less you will be needing it at the end of the day. Um, but if you use it consciously, in fact, we have a golden rule, which is I put the album that I feel is right at the moment I feel is right, and for the length of time I feel is right. You see, so it's really a conscious way of using my music one. Um, I don't know what it's like in the United States, but in France, people are very used to be nurtured. You know, they need to be told what they need to do. It's very difficult for them in France to actually right. So I need to make my own decision to when I use it. It's quite funny, but yes, you need to make your own decision when you want to use it and for how long, and that's the best way to really make the best use of it. You know. So there we go. And to finish, the key domain of application, obviously our daily life, as I just described it, at the personal level, but also there are three main fields: work, education, and health. A lot of therapists use biomusic one because they can see that it actually enhances the results. And you will, if you should choose to practice, for example, Reiki with animals for yourself or with animals, you should really notice. We have a lot of testimonial from Reiki practitioners. You should really notice that um, the healing session goes. I don't know if you can say healing session in English. I think it's fine to say that. In front, they're very careful about using the word healing, but the healing session is actually uh, more immediate. The results are more evident, and they get integrated at a deeper level by the person who receives the treatment, whether it's yourself or someone else. So it's a very good tool to enhance. And again, it goes back to that thing of revitalizing water and protecting it. So you have a clear and fluid circulation of information in the body. And what happens when you channel Reiki is actually a circulation of information through your body to someone else, or an animal, or someone else, basically. And if you are clean, then the information is going to be pure. But if you are not well in your shoes that day, then it could actually alter the quality of the information that flows through you. It's important to be aware of that. I know that in the Reiki world, a lot of people think, oh, well, it doesn't matter how I live my life as long as before I do my healing session, I've done my protocol and put my hands. That's fine. But I'm afraid to say no. I disagree with that, and I'm pretty sure uh, most Reiki masters will disagree with that. We really need to work on ourselves. That's not for nothing that you got the five ideals, and we really need to work on ourselves and purify ourselves so that we can true vectors. And it's if only by respect for the for actually what the universe is giving us, is trusting us in actually channeling. So it really is our responsibility to be aware of that and to acknowledge that and to do everything so that we can actually do that, enable this flow of information in the purest way possible. And as you probably noticed, animals are very sensitive to that. Maybe human beings might not be, but animals are very sensitive to that. I'm pretty sure you've noticed if you're not feeling well that day, the animal is not going to let you, or is not going to allow yourself to heal you or to practice Reiki. It's probably going to go away and wait for you to feel better, you know, um, because they don't think they just they're pure. They can feel immediately. Is it for me? It's not for me. Okay, no, it's not for me. No judgment. We'll come back at another time. Um, so there we go. Well, this is great because this gives me the transition. I think I finished about explaining about what is Biomusic One, what it can do, how it works, the kind of thing it can help us with. Do you have any questions just uh, for what I've just said? Have you got any questions at all?
And if you have
Okay,
questions, you can unmute or you can put them in chat too. But we will have a Q&A after. So
okay.
we go
Yeah,
on.
we will have a Q&A. We will have a Q&A after, definitely. But you you will probably have other question later on because you will have experienced a sonic meditation, which is a lot stronger in how you feel by your music. One can rebalance the body. Um, at the moment, I was just asking, do you have any question from a intellectual point of view about what I just said? But if you don't have, then perfect, we move on. Um, Everybody's happy? You can go like this. All good? Okay, great. Fantastic. You're right. Very bright audience. Very great. Oh, I'm really good at explaining. I don't know. Oh, boss, we're all good. I move on to the animals. And the first thing I would like to do is basically, pretty sure you're aware of it, but I think it's important to say it. Humans are connected to animals through the astral body. I'm sure you're aware of that. Yeah? And it's very important to be aware of that because this is probably why they very easily anticipate. Let's say you go away, when someone goes away and they come back home, your dog or your cat, mainly your dog, the cat don't show it. Maybe if they know that they don't really care, they're not going to show it to you. But dogs show it very clearly. They wait behind the door because they know you're coming up. Why? Because they are connected through your astral body and they can feel things. You don't need to talk to them either. They function through a thought process, which is basically thought forms. We just need to have an image of what we want to say or transmit to our animal friends. It's like it's not really a phrase. It's like uh, a situation we just tune into and they grab the situation immediately you know and that's why they can see also very quickly if you are able to give a Reiki session to them or not, because uh, they can feel that when we are not feeling well, the first thing that goes out of the window is our astral body. That's what is affected. Obviously the physical and ethereal body are affected, but the astral body is the most important one. The causal body is connected to our human consciousness, and we should all function at the causal body, actually. But unfortunately, still nowadays, most humans still function at the level of the astral body, which is why we are the society we have. Uh, it's actually defending my territory. It's very much living on a surviving mode, you know. But when we're on the causal body, we don't function that way at all. That what I was describing earlier on about being here and now, aware of what interact with me, not reacting to it, but dealing with it in a peaceful way. This is our causal body. This is how we function normally as humans. And if we don't function like this, because we don't allow ourselves to reach that state of being, you know. Um, So this is very important to understand where the animals connect to us, at which level they connect to us. And in fact, you'll see, that's why I invited you to bring your animal friends with you today for the session, is because we created two sequences for the sonic meditation. You'll see that enhances that bond between humans and animals. So it will be interesting to see how you feel it and how they feel it. And you might also, I don't want to imply anything, but I really invite you to be to pay attention to lots of dimensions of yourself, because you might become aware of various things about your animal friends that you may not have been aware of before. Um, let's see, let's see. It would be interesting to see how you experience it. Another thing which is important to understand is, I'm sure you know it, but animals work a bit like a fuse for us. It's the same in a family. Let's say you have a couple who go through a very stressful period. Very often you might find that the young kids become ill, you know, because actually the fuse, if I could say, do you understand the expression being the fuse? Yeah. I'm not sure if we can say it in English, but it's French expression, on est le fusible, with a fuse. Basically, instead of us becoming ill of uh, because of the way we are, and which shouldn't be this way, it's actually someone else with pure love that serve to actually transmute the negative energy that you are generating, and they pay the consequences. So they become ill, or they could even die. You know, you could have an animal having an accident just because you've done something. You're not really dealing with your life in a conscious way and in a very destructive way. And at some point, poof, there's something that the fuse that explodes. You know, it's very important to be aware of that. This is again linked to our responsibility. That's why we really need to take responsibility for what we say, we think, and we do, because it has consequences, not only on us, but also on people we have bonds, we have strong bonds with. So the animals, being pure love, they give ourselves to us, and they could very often become ill for us. I have the example of a woman we knew in Belgium. She became ill, she had cancer, and it's a friend of her who knew Biomusic One, and she knew what Biomusic One could do, and she said to us, look, I got this friend of mine, she's got cancer, but she doesn't believe in what you do, but I'm pretty sure it can help her a lot. But she doesn't believe in what you do. And a dog has got cancer as well. He developed cancer, and she's probably on the last stage of cancer. And she said she's not going to listen to you, but I know a way of helping her. But could you help us to find out, because she's not going to be able to use it in a conscious way like you normally recommend. Could you please tell us what she should listen and when? So we played the game because the situation needed it. And we told her, we told our friend of this woman, what she should tell her to play. And so she offered us the album, and she played them. And you know what happened? The dog got healed before her. And because she could see a dog getting better, she suddenly realized what was happening. She trusted it, and she went out of that what do you call it, that last stage of cancer. She went out of that, and little by little she recovered, and I think she's still alive nowadays. So this is incredible story, because it shows how quickly her dog recovered, and 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 the impact it had on her. It reversed the process basically, which is amazing. This is quite interesting to observe. Uh, so because of this bond at the astral level, that's a very practical tip. Whatever album you may play for yourself will be beneficial to your animal friend. So you don't have to worry, oh, what should I play for my cat or my dog? What you play for yourself, you go back to that rule, what is good for me, when, for how long, and when, is going to be good for your animal friends, for sure. Obviously, if you use it in a working environment, you go and do a Reiki treatment for animals in a farm or somewhere else, then obviously it doesn't work that way. You have to tune into yourself and say, okay, what album would be best for the animal I'm coming to help today? But in your daily life, you need not worry about this. Just use it consciously for yourself, and you will see that your animal friends will definitely benefit from it. So the one important thing that the first thing that we've observed is that animals are very receptive to Biomusic One. And I'm going to give you some examples which are quite amazing. Um, for example, I know this young woman, she's got a dog, and the dog never go inside the home. He's got his little house in the garden, and he likes to be outside anyway. So he goes and run all day long. She has a big field, and at some point, when she started using Biomusic One, she realized I think for 2 or 3 days, because she leaves the food outside and everything, she realized that she couldn't see him anymore. And it's a male dog, yeah. In France, we say him or her. So she couldn't see him anymore, and she was wondering what could he be. And it's only when she cleaned the house that she realized he was spending most of his time under the sofa. So he went inside home and he stayed under the sofa because the two speakers were on each side of the sofa. And that's where he liked being, which is quite amazing. So he could feel where was the source of the spreading of the sonic vibrations, the healing vibration, and he wanted to use this to benefit from that. So that's quite interesting. And there was another one which was talking about those or animals who like to be outside. I also had the feedback and the testimony of this woman who she has a cat, and every morning after eating, the cat goes out. And that cat loves to be, she lives in the mountain, in the Alps, and that cat goes out for most of the day. He only comes back at the end of the day to eat and sleep at home. And she went to a workshop. Well, I did a workshop and a conference one night over there. And she called me the next day. She called me at around midday, 1 o'clock. And she said to me, wow, Jean-Louis, it's incredible. My cat always leaves me at 8 a.m. in the morning, every morning, and I don't see it ever again until the end of the day. And this morning, it just couldn't leave the house. It just went round and round in circle, like if something wanted like if it was attracted to something. And it's only after 1 o'clock, she said, I started to wander about and went out, doing life outside. And okay, we're not sure whether this is because of music or not, but it is, she said, I play music all night and it's still playing. I let it play. So probably the cat felt there was better energy around the house and wanted maybe to benefit from it. Who knows? But that's another little observation we had. Another one, which is interesting to show you that they really feel the change of vibes. It's this woman who used to, she said to us that she likes taking baths. Okay. So it's a ritual for her, and she plays music when she takes a bath. So basically, when she had Biomusic One, she always take a bath with Biomusic One because you revitalize water, so you revitalize water in the bath as well, and she felt it was much better for her. And the first time she used Biomusic One, when she went out of the bathroom, she saw that a cat and a dog were sitting peacefully just behind the door, and they never did that before. So she said, "That's really weird. Why are they here?" And so she didn't pay much attention, but because she told me much later on after she really observed the thing. So she observed this phenomenon happen several times. And so at some point she clicked and she said, is it because I play biomusic? So she took a bath after that, not using Biomusic One. And they were not behind the door. After when she was not using Biomusic One, the cat and the dog were doing their business somewhere else. And when she was using Biomusic One, they were waiting behind the door. Isn't that amazing? It's quite incredible. And I think one of the reasons could be that when you have a lot of humidity, you feel a lot stronger the revitalizing effect of Biomusic One. So by staying just behind the door, they probably felt a stronger revitalizing effect. Well, you see what I mean? And they wanted to benefit from it. So that's another observation which was quite interesting. Um, What else would observe? Yeah, there's a man who ran a shop, and I went there in Switzerland. I went there many times to do workshops, invited me to do conferences and workshops. He has a wellness shop, and he noticed that when he was playing by a music one, there's lots of birds in the street. Well, the birds were coming in and staying inside the shop, which never happened before. Apart from the time when he started to use it because he was playing by music regularly in the shop, he noticed that birds were coming in. That's quite funny. And there is this other man as well that um, kept in the summer. He didn't notice it in the winter, but in the summer he always opened his window, and he's got a big window sill, and he lives in an estate. And he said to me, when I play by music one, I've got all the cats of the neighborhood coming, and they stay on the windowsill. It's quite funny, and they don't fight. They just stay there, and they're quite happy to enjoy the music. So that's another funny thing as well. Um, so it's just little example of really what how animal perceive this. Oh, I've got another one that come to my mind. I forgot before. It's a little tortoise. It's this couple who had a tortoise, and obviously she lived in the garden. They have a pond, and she'd always stay in the garden and have a big window, a bay, window bay in front of the living room, go into the garden. And in the summer, again, they leave the window doors open. And they had this little table in the living room, and at the time we were selling only CDs, so they had a CD player on that table. And the first year they played, the first summer when they were playing by Music One, the tortoise came inside the house, which it never did before, and he went round and round the little table. And instead of running at the little table for hours on end, sometimes they said. So it's quite amazing. Again, they felt this was happening. And the last one, which is very, very funny, is this woman in Madrid who discovered Music One at a very early stage. And she had a CD player as well in the kitchen on a shelf. Basically, she was playing music in inaudible mode most of the time just to feel good. And she said to me, when I put Music One, usually after a little while, she has two cats. They both come up to the shelf, and they sit down, and they relax, one on each side of the CD player. So one next to each to a speaker, and they stay there. And she said one of them had to find a way of putting the volume up. He knew how the volume, these round knobs. He knew how to put the volume up, and that cat was putting the volume up with Bayou music. Oh, that was quite funny. I wish, I wish I had a video of this. I said to her, "Could you please film them?" And somehow we lost contact, and I never managed to. I never received the video. She promised me to do one day, but I never received the video. But if one day we get it, they will become the mascot of Biomusic One is to cat. I'm sure they will.
I love
Anyway,
this. So Jean-Louis, I would love if we could do the actual meditation because I know some people have to leave a little early, but also I
okay.
want to just make a comment here. Monica, who is in Croatia, she said, my cat, when she is inside, she usually sleeps in a dog bed. Now, since we started with this session, she was sitting at the middle of the door of the room where I am. And now she came in and is sitting next to the bed watching me. And she rarely comes in this room. So right there is a wonderful testimonial about how it's already working in the energy ball mode, right?
Fantastic, great. Well, I'm glad you can observe it. Okay, well, I was going to go into some specific observation of how it can really help animals. But yeah, let's do a first meditation because we're going to experience both series. I've got a first meditation of 3 tracks. It's a specific sequence for you and your animal friend, but with the first wellness process. And later on, we're going to do, because we've got 12 on, we're going to do another swimming meditation with 2 tracks from the series 2, which works in a very different way. Okay, so in that case, uh, what I will explain to you how you can leave it to the full. The best thing is to really sit down comfortably, close your eyes. Don't do it now, I'll explain. You close your eyes, and in your own time, inside yourself, you could say if you want, I am, and your first name. For example, I'm Jean-Louis, so I would say I am Jean-Louis. If I say it consciously, It's a very simple but effective way to recognize yourself to your true identity. You've listened to me for maybe 45 minutes already, and it's likely that you are on my identity. It's another energetic key. So it's very important to always uh, reconnect yourself to yourself, basically. So you do that, and then when I can feel that everybody is really tuning to themselves, I'll start the sequence. So please sit comfortably. Make sure no one's going to disturb you in any way. Close your eyes. I'm going to share my screen to a different screen where I've got the music, and then we're going to start the sound, the music. Okay, so where is it? Here. Yep. All right. So the most important thing is that please do not worry about the fact you don't like the music. It's totally irrelevant. You will obviously listen to it because it will play, but you should really listen to your body. And another key thing to tell you before we start, your body never start a liberating process that is not capable of um, managing fully. So if you feel certain things happening in your body, don't worry at all about it. You could have a fantastic experience feeling, well, I don't know, really well and strong energy of love, whatever. But you could also feel in your body some kind of like, I don't know, heat, pain or whatever. Usually it's an area of the body where where stress is released, and it's an important stress. And it's important for you to be aware that stress was settling in that part of your body. So please have total confidence in the way your body is going to manage itself, because you are in a state of enhanced consciousness. You can feel rebalancing happening at subtle levels. So it may feel that it's happening as a physical body, but in fact it's happening in subtle bodies. So really, let go completely. Observe yourself in a neutral state. Just observe, and when it will be finished, just please use a chat in your own time to write down what is important to you to express. Okay, brilliant. So I allow you to settle down, settle in comfortably. Close your eyes, connect to yourself, and when you're ready, I will start the music. prenez le temps de revenir, hein, tranquillement. Et on voit ce temps. Je vous invite à utiliser le chat pour extérioriser certaines choses qui vous ont marqué dans l'expérience vécue, tout simplement. Voilà. Est-ce que vous m'entendez? Allô? Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Now
Oui?
we can hear you. Thank you.
Ah, ok, parce que je vois que Lisa a mis sound et je me demandais si vous m'aviez entendu vous inviter à utiliser le chat. Oui?
In English?
Leah, you are
Yeah,
muted.
in English, Jean-Louis. You just said that in French.
Oh, so sorry. I was asking if you if you were listening to me, if you had heard me earlier on when I was inviting you to use the chat, because I could see Lisa was saying sound with with a question mark.
No, your
Did,
sound was off for a few minutes there. We could see you talking, but we couldn't hear you.
ah,
But you're back now. Thank you.
Yeah.
okay, sorry about this. Yeah, I was saying, please use the chat to Uh, the first part in the Sundic meditation is to experience inside yourself the rebalancing process. And then when you write down with keywords or key sentence what you feel is important that you have experienced, then it's another way of accompanying the liberating process. So it's another way of becoming aware of what you've been through, what you've experienced. That's why we invite you to use a chat to express yourself. And after that, obviously, you forget about it because the idea is not to read yourself again or to try and understand or interpret anything, but just to be aware of what has happened and then forget about it. And in this way, you accompany your body to carry on the process of liberation. And what I'll do is later on, we can rebound on it. But effectively, thanks for reminding me, Leah. Time flies. And I didn't realize we went so quickly into the hour.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is once you've used the chat to write down briefly what is important for you to exteriorize, I will do another quick meditation of only 2 tracks with Series 2 albums, which is a different process, so that you can experiment.
Um,
The
Jean-Louis, before we get into that, Susan Musto asked the question, can we listen to any album or how do we choose? She has health issues and believes her dog is mirroring those issues.
ah, can we? What was the question again then?
Can she listen to any album or is there a specific one that she should choose? Like she wanted to know how do you
Okay,
choose an album depending on
okay,
where you're coming from?
okay. The best way to choose an album, you can do it on the website biomusicone.com or within the app that you can download for free and from the App Store or the Play Store. The best way is to listen to the audio extract of each album. And again, listen to your body. Usually, the album that you are most receptive to is the one that generates the most sensation, whether it's physical, emotional, psychic. The reason I play 3 tracks from series 1 is because kinema act at the energetic level. Arnica 1 and 2 act at the physical and emotional level, and Monte Cristo 3 to 1, 3 album, they act at more at the psychic consciousness level. So you had a taste of the three different. There was one track from Kinema, one track from one of the Arnica Montana album, and one track from the Monte Cristo albums. So that's the best way. But there is also another way. If you don't feel the difference, we have a little chart that explain how the different album in series one support the body. So what I'll do, Leah, when we finish the session, because I didn't think about this, I will email you that chart so you can pass it on to everyone
Oh,
in
yeah.
due course. Okay, but really the best way to choose an album for oneself is to listen to the audio extract and see how you feel listening to different ones. And the one you're most receptive of usually stands out. If not, you will see that on the homepage of the website as well, there are some recommendations that we do. You could start with the first album of the series one and progress, or you could use a combination of albums that works very well together. All this is explained on the homepage, and it's also explained in the app.
Great. And just really quickly, I know we're not really at um, the questions, but I don't want to lose this. Mary Destry wanted to know, is there a particular one you would recommend for the end of life transition, either for animals or people, or if it's the same one for both?
Again, I think anyone could work out, but a lot of people have used kinema.
Kinema.
It depends of the conscious awareness of the person living. If it's someone who really lives their life in a conscious way, did a lot of work on themselves and so on, you could go for Monte Cristo 1, or you could go Monte Cristo 1 is the last album of Series 1. Series 1 is Kinema, Arnica 1, Arnica 2, Monte Cristo 3, 2, and 1. And Monte Cristo 1 is most achieved from conscious awareness at the spiritual level. So this would be a very good album to accompany someone. If it is a person or an animal, for animal really, kinema is probably one of the best choice. But for a person who has not necessarily lived a life in a conscious way, kinema is a very good way to accompany the living of the person. And if not, if it is someone as well that was really strongly connected, you could go for High Love 2. High Love 2 is really in tune with, connects ourselves to the Christ energy within ourselves. And it's really an album above all the others. It's a very powerful album. So if you know someone who's living their lives in a conscious way, this album is really, really precious as well. Monte Cristo 1 and High Love 2.
Well, thank you so much, Jean-Louis. We're getting some really great comments about what people are feeling, and a lot of animals have stayed next to it. And so we'll get to these. I'll let you finish your presentation because you said you had one more meditation to do.
Yeah, I think it's good if we carry on with it because it's only 2 tracks, and
Okay.
you will see that they work very differently. So we're gonna, if it's okay with everybody, we can go again into that listening stage where you close your eyes, listen to. You can say again, my name is, and then your first name if you want to, or if you feel you're fine, then that's fine. And then I feel everyone is ready. I will start the first track. Okay, I'll turn the mic off now. Okay. Can you hear me again?
A little bit, it needs to be a little bit louder. That was really amazing. And I was remembering that when we met in 2013, when you and Kathleen were speaking at the Reiki conference, that I had gotten your CDs and I had used them with my dogs. And then I've gone through a divorce and used them for my dogs to help keep peace during that time. And then I moved and then I just lost connection with it. But I remember now why it was just so powerful for me, because it really gets you into that meditative state, but it's a waking meditative state where you feel really good. And like the first part of this second session was just, I felt really open and warm. And then the second one, it was just like you wanted to dance. And I know that I wrote down some of the comments from the first one. Beth and Mary Lynn and Monica were all saying they felt like dancing during the second part of the first one. And Mary Lynn even said she did dance. But I wanted to just say quickly, because I know we're coming on time and people might have to leave, is that Carolyn Frith asked a question. Her deaf dog came in during the first session, and she didn't know, like, would the deaf dog just feel the vibration, or do you know anything about that?
Yes, of course I do. We even had, at the Reiki Congress, for 2, 3 years running, after we met, probably around 16, 17, 18, last year, last decenny, we had a group of uh, uh, malentendants, we say in French, no, deaf people, basically, and who couldn't hear very well. And they experienced the Biomusic One workshop, and I could tell you, they could tell you exactly what went on in their body, far more specifically than people who were listening to the music could. It was very interesting for me to observe that. Yes, of course, and the reason is that's why we can use it in inaudible mode. The reason is because sonic vibration going through the body, through the skin, and through all the uh, the bone structure in the body, and um, and it revitalizes water. So you feel immediately the rebalancing, even if you don't hear the music. Yes, so the answer is yes. Your dog will definitely uh, benefit from you, uh, playing the music for sure.
And then Beth was asking, she volunteers in a dog barn at her shelter, and they play hip hop music. Would bio music one in the background be recommended? And would it be like the energy ball one, or the audible one, or both?
You could, ideally, it's best to play one type of music and then Biomusic One, or just Biomusic One. But a lot of people who practice, for example, massage, and they want to have quiet music, because as you've seen, our music sometimes very dynamic,
Yeah.
especially the Monte Cristos, because they're very good at releasing blockages, and rhythms are very efficient for that. Um, so you could have actually Biomusic One in inaudible mode while playing another music. If this other music is suitable at the time, everybody will feel good. If it's not appropriate, Biomusic One will put this in evidence. It will make you feel not good listening to the other music. So in a way, it's useful to actually help recognize what is the best music I could use to accompany this treatment. But if you can use only Biomusic One, it's better. But if you really want to use another music and Biomusic One in inaudible mode, it will help you identify what is the best music to put at the same time, if I could say.
Yeah, I love that. And really quickly, I wanted to say Elaine had a really good comment here. Elaine Santiago said, "My cats did not come to me during the sessions, but for myself, I had an awful headache, and by the end, my headache is gone, and she feels energized." So that's a really great testimonial.
Right.
Thank you, Elaine.
Yeah, this is very frequent. I'm glad. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback, Elaine, and I'm glad it went. We have a lot of symptoms that usually disappear when we play Biomusic One. Even symptoms who were going on for years in some people, which is quite amazing. It's because they've done everything at the physical level, but they just needed to release information. the root, the information that is the root of the problem. And then that's it. The problem goes. I can see as well that Marilyn is asking how long after the
Yeah.
music ends do we feel the effect? Well, Marilyn, normally this has been tested actually in laboratories. If you listen to 1 hour of biomusic, usually you have the effect for 1.5 times the length of the play. So, for example, if you listen to an album for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, you would have the effect in your body. So, for example, if you play during the night for 6 or 8 hours, then you don't need to play because you got 9 hours of support, basically. So that's why we say play it whenever you feel like it, for how long you feel like it, um, and when you feel like it.
I love what T wrote here. She had some distractions when she went out to be at the bullfrogs, and then it's very hot in the United States. As she came in, and her face became hot, and she got emotional at like these stages, right? And then dance was always on her mind, and rave images, even though she's never been to a rave, which I thought is really funny. And then she said she opened her eyes and kept seeing many spirit animals in the ceiling there. So that's really great. And then Mary says total rave energy. I agree. I was thinking, but in a better way. It wasn't so I don't know. It's funny, rave music can kind of close in like this, and this is more expansive. It really, I love reading all the comments of everyone's experiences here.
Yeah, a great comment. In fact, we do organize events where we do what we call them conscious discos. Basically is a DJ set, and we play a sequence of tracks that are specific to the place and the people attending the event. So it's very spontaneous, and basically you can actually transmute energy through movement, and we
Mhm.
do that. We do uh, conscious dance exercises as well. So you when you listen to music one, really let your body freely experiment it, because sometimes you may want to sit down or lie down and just let the music flows, and sometimes you want to get up and move, and you will see that when you move, actually you don't necessarily move like you want to, like if you were dancing on a disco club or something. Your body does movements that are liberating for you, and they're quite interesting to observe in oneself.
I love that. And
So yeah, anyway.
I just wanted to say, like Alice Bernard's, she was saying during the first meditation, her dog was sleeping on the cool floor because it's very hot where she is in Canada. And then during the second meditation, he leapt up onto an upholstered chair to lie with his head down and his eyes open about 1 foot from the computer. So another testimonial about the animals coming to the computer to listen. Lots of relaxed animals and relaxed people too.
Great. That's great. Thank you so much for all this beautiful feedback. It's much appreciated. I know we have little time left. I mean, I would have all the day, all the time in the world if you wanted to. I'm not bothered at all. I'd be
Well,
very happy to
we will
stay, but
definitely
you know
have
what?
you. We can have you
You
back.
may have, and also if we have a recording that lasts 3 hours, nobody is going to watch it, are they? They're going to see, well, maybe later. So, but no, do you have any question at all about what you've experienced, or because we won't have time to go through whatever you felt inside. But what is important, what I was going to say about this, what is important is whatever you felt inside your body, whether, it's, for example, the headache that is going, or other things, um, it's great to experience a liberating experience, but the most important thing is not so much that. The most important thing is what are you going to observe in your life following this workshop, following this webinar. And I really invite you for the rest of the day to really pay attention to, yourself, your environment, people interacting with you or animals interacting with you, and how does it feel? What what do you experience? Do you have we say an élan in French, do you have an urge to say, do something differently or to not say or do something like you may you may have done it in the past? I really invite you to do that, to experience the next hours in that way. And in fact, to experience every day in a way, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Um, but it is not, it can have very profound rebalancing effect. It doesn't look like this, maybe immediately. It may not be obvious, I mean, but I can guarantee you that when you live when you experience a sonic meditation, especially in a group session, it's quite powerful to release past traumas or stress that is preventing you in this moment in your life from doing or saying or acting in a way that would be very beneficial for you. So I really invite you to pay attention to that.
And so Jean-Louis, before, because I know some people have to leave, what so they can go to your website and you have sample tracks, and that's bio1music.com, right? And then also
Yes.
the app, I have the app, so you can download the app. And there's also samples, I believe, on the app as well. And
Yes.
also, if you do order, make sure that you look at the email, because there was a 10% off coupon that Jean-Louis has generously offered to make it evergreen. So it's not going to expire. You'll be able to use that coupon over and over again. And using the link, Sarah will get some credit as well. So that's really wonderful for us. But I'll open it back up to questions for Jean-Louis, but I just want to make sure that we get everyone directed to the right place to learn more about this and purchase it if they felt this was really helpful. And then,
Excuse me, Leah, just one important detail for that, just in case. If you order, it's important to know that the promo code only works on the website. We
okay.
cannot, because it's possible to buy the album directly from the app, and I don't recommend you to do that because Apple and Google increase the price for the commissions. So you should really buy directly from the website where the price is the normal price, and then you can benefit from the discount. So it's two different things. The website with the web shop, the store, and the app are two different things. The app is really to download the track and then benefit from Biomusic One, and the web shop is really to buy the albums.
So, and then Mary generously put the link there. Thank you so much for that, Mary. And I just want to really quickly say, so Kristen said her 8-month-old kitty and she were energized throughout the meditations. Her kitty came over to her lap and started biting her. She has play aggression, which she's been working on with an animal commuter. It's been a very challenging behavior to deal with as she bites me with a very hard mouth. However, for the first time, she was actually starting to use a soft mouth, which was amazing. Yay. Oh my gosh, that's another wonderful testimonial. I love that.
I
Thank you.
would like to say briefly, because I didn't have time, Leah, to give but it brings it to my mind. We had a testimonial of a couple in Barcelona, and they had a cat. She was she didn't like being on her own, and they didn't know why. And every night she was trying to get into their bedroom. So when they were okay with that, they let her go in. But if they were not okay, they were creating havoc in the living room. And basically, when they bought Biomusic One, they had Kinema at the time. After 1 week, their cat went to sleep in a in a little area that was just for her. It's amazing, and from that point on, she was at peace. She didn't destroy the sofa or anything like that. She was quite happy going to a little place to sleep. So you see, it just reconnected her to herself, and she probably released, or maybe in the flat, there was some kind of information that was bothering her. But at the end of the day, she just found peace and a place, you know. So maybe this will happen with you, Christine, and she will find like reconnecting to herself. She will find that she's less stressed by some kind of subtle energy, I don't know, or connection with you, and be more caring, maybe more gentle, be more loving. I don't know.
Thank you. So we have Mary Lynn has a question, then we'll get to Carolyn. So Mary Lynn, I don't know. Oh,
yes. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you. Yes, the music you had just said that it does affect behavior, and would it affect unproductive, unwanted behavior like fear of crossing from one room to another, or the anxiety of being in a shelter. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Marilyn, definitely. We've got some experience on that. There was a cat. There was a woman in London who had a cat who wouldn't go to the third floor. You know, in London you have houses very easily 2 or 3 floors. She wouldn't go up to the second and third floor, in fact, and she was terrified, and she never knew why she was terrified. And from the day she put Biomusic One, after a week, she went up and down, and she went through the whole house. So there's probably there were probably some clearing happening thanks to the album, and she felt comfortable about going everywhere. So yes, it will help them to be to feel better about their environment. We've had a lot of testimonial about this, and also you were saying about going from one place to another. For example, there's another example about fish in an aquarium. They were very, you know, if you approach fish in an aquarium, usually they go and hide, they shy. And this man gave us this testimonial. He noticed that when he was putting My Music One, they were more lively and they were not afraid when people got closer to the aquarium, and they were keeping moving around and having fun, being playful, like if they were eating, he said, and was quite amazed that it changed clearly their behavior. So yeah, it's possible it helps them a lot in changing behavior. We
Oh,
had
good.
less aggressive dogs as well. We had a lot of testimonial of less aggressive dogs.
Ooh, that's great. Thank you. Just a quickie. Do you recommend on your website the particular type of music to, if I'm new to all this, so is there a recommendation for what the music is helpful for, or what you recommend for a beginner?
Okay. We must understand that Biomusic One is not like a therapeutic tool in the way that you would use it for one specific condition or another. It really is a support for the body to manage itself and to auto liberate itself. So really, one should choose the album that feels right on the spot without thinking, okay, yeah, this is good for that or this is good for this. It doesn't really matter what it's good for or not on the chart that we created. It's just a direction. It's true. It helps in they can help in specific ways, but they may not be for that reason that we need to use one album at the moment or not. And always listen to your intuition to what is best. Having said that, if you start, if you use for rebalancing an area where there are lots of animals, or like in a shelter, I would recommend to start with Kinema. Kinema is a very, very good album to reharmonize a place and a group of being. So in a shelter, when you have lots of dogs or cats or whatever, then it's very good to put Kinema to start with. Then you could move on to the Arnica, because Arnica will have a stronger rebalancing at the physical and emotional level. And then you could move on to Monte Cristo, who will have a stronger impact. Let's say the dog had a traumatic experience in the past. Well, Monte Cristo is very good to actually release that trauma, especially Monte Cristo 3, which is the most dynamic one. It's more techno rave one, you know.
Yes.
And it's very, very good for that, to release the past traumas. So I would recommend those. For the second series, I think because they're different, you could actually put them anytime you feel like it, and not necessarily you may not necessarily need to put them in repeat mode. I love one and I love two. They're very good when you see, for example, a lot of stress and you want to have a very deep reharmonizing effect on a group level, you know, or on an individual level. But if you have someone being particularly affected, I love one, or I love to have very good to have an impact, very quick, deep impact, without having to release the cause of the trauma, which is what series one would do first. Series one would help the body liberate itself from the root of the problem, which means that a new behavior will come up, you know. The dog or the animal won't have that behavior anymore. But series two shortcut this and go straight to help, so that on the spur of the moment, it's the person who is affected or the animal who is affected is a lot more peaceful, is appeased. So that's why they two complementary series.
Thank you.
Bless you, Marilyn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carolyn,
Thanks
had
for
a
the question,
question.
Yeah, I have millions of questions. The more you talk, the more I'm like, oh, what about this situation? What about that situation? Yeah, so what attracted me to this seminar was I'm an animal communicator and I communicate solely with rescue animals. Well, mostly that's what I try to do. And I was communicating with an animal who had come from a hoarding situation where there were 94 dogs and was traumatized by that. And they couldn't even put this dog on a leash, or nobody else could come in the house and take the dog out. So in the communication, I asked the dog what could help her. And she said she would like to sit on the couch and listen to soft, loving music. So next to her guardian. So, and for some reason, what came to my mind at that point was What a Beautiful World with Louis Armstrong. And so I played that for her, and I just felt her relaxing. And in the future, her guardian now plays that for her, and she just melts, apparently. So my question is, I mean, that was just came off the top of my head. Let me play this and see if it works, Is that the best way? I mean, should I be using the music in my communications to help them if I get an animal in trauma? Or should it be something I'm like, okay, guardian, go do this? Or should it be both?
I would definitely recommend you to use biomusic while you do the communication. Definitely, because you will have, as I explained at the beginning, which is a very key factor to understand this fluidity and clarity of information in your body. So the communication with the animal is much stronger. Also, one thing that biomusic is very useful out is that because it connects you to yourself, you are more grounded, connected, aligned, and also in a state of service. It could be very helpful not to perhaps let the subconscious come up with things that may not be necessarily true, if you see what I mean. It doesn't much happen with animal communication, but it could happen with people who are mediums, you know? And but biomusic one is very good at grounding, connecting, and aligning. So it would definitely be very helpful. I think you might find a difference in the quality of communication with the animal using biomusic. But also, of course, if you advise the guardian of the animal to use biomusic one, it will definitely create a better bond between them, and also a deeper understanding of each other's need. I'm definitely sure of that, because it's a natural process that will happen. It happens at the level of people within a family. There is always a reharmonization of the family cell, and with time, better recognition of each other and needs, and each other particularities, personality, and so on and so forth. And the more we tune into that, the more there is a mutual respect, and also, more than anything else, a complete letting go of how everyone is, and just concentrating on how I can be better myself, because that's the best way for everyone, in fact, to be better themselves. So this process is definitely much faster, I think, with animals, because animals are already like this. And I would definitely recommend a guardian to use biomusic just for that person to be more aware of the real needs of his animal.
Okay. Okay, so do both. And if I used it in a communication, I could do it in the inaudible mode, right?
You could it audible or inaudible, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay.
From that point of view, it doesn't really matter. If it's better not to have any sound to get the information, put it in the inaudible mode. But if it helps you to have some background music,
Okay.
so feel free. Biomusic one is really total freedom of use. Really, it invites people to tune into themselves all the time and take responsibility for themselves and just grab what is the best thing to do right now. And just trust yourself. Trust yourself completely. Because the other side of ourselves, the reasoning mind, will always doubt everything.
Yes.
It will do it on purpose, because you go out of your comfort zone. So we'll always try to start to doubt everything. Never doubt a first impulse. You see, for example, you were talking about putting on What a Wonderful World. Perfect. This is what you receive as an information, and it's probably exactly what the cat needed.
Right.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. That was such a great question, and we learned so much from that. A lot of really good information came out of that. And I love how, at the end of the day, I think the main message here is we learn how to take responsibility for ourselves and not be so concerned about everything else, right? It brings us that clarity of thought and mind. And I know Jean-Louis shared a really wonderful story about how he was able to understand these wild cats that he was feeding, because it gets rid of all of the nonsense, so that now we just have clarity. So I love that. And so we have time for a couple more questions. And Nancy, you had one. So I'd love to hear what you have to ask.
Yes, I was in my office. I'm not home with my cat, which because I have poor Wi-Fi at home. But I have a 19-year-old cat who has developed really bizarre nighttime behavior, which we go to bed, like 10:30, and then she'll sleep till like 2:30, and then she just wakes up and she's meowing for food, and I'll get up and I'll give her some food, and then I'll go back to bed. She doesn't eat a lot, and then she gets up again another hour and a half, same thing. And I've been doing this now for over a year, and I'm like getting to my wit's end, and I've tried giving her like gabapentin, melatonin, CBD, nothing touches it. Nothing helps her. And I'm just wondering if you could recommend a particular album that maybe I could play. And do I just play it on the iPhone silently? Because I live in an apartment. There's people above me and below me. What would you recommend to help maybe get her through the night without wanting to get up and eat every hour and a half?
No, definitely. You could put a kinema as well. We had I will send you a link, Leah, after also the webinar, for a document that I created, which is actually a synthesis of what happened in the Namaste shelter that you were sent to you, and also all the different testimonials. And you will see there is one, Nancy, that relates to this. It's actually, I'm pretty sure if you put one of the album, she will find peace again. Probably try with Kinema to start with, but let yourself again, let it talk to you. Listen to all different ones, but probably Kinema, if you're not sure, will be a very good start. I remember I had a person who was at the Congress, Reiki Congress, and she had a call from a daughter saying, look, our cat is about to die. She's waiting for you to come back home. I can tell she's not feeding anymore. She's very, very poor and all that. She came back home, and out of desperation, she said, I'm going to try this. And she put biomusic non-stop. And in the space of a few days, she completely changed. She started to climb the sofa again. She started to eat. And basically, she said, at the end of I don't know if I've got it here, at the end of the testimonial she gave me, she was saying that a cat was really Yeah, I can read it for you. She said, so the evening when I return, I try the All for All and I play the music in loop all night long with the two CDs I purchased. The next morning, she raised her head and mewed softly. She repeated the experience for the next 3 nights, as well as only a few times during the day. And after 8 to 10 days, she said she was eating again. And normally alone, without her assistance. And then she said after 2 weeks, she started running again, getting on and off the sofa without any difficulties. And she said after 3 weeks, so she sent a testimonial after 3 weeks. She said, I'm not, um, hold on, I got something that came up on the screen that I need to get rid of. Tick. She said, I'm not, 16. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a miracle, but she said one big thank you for giving for extending her life. And I don't know how long she lived for because we didn't have any more contact after that. But you know, she definitely completely changed behavior. Sometimes things happen. However, Nancy, your cat is 19 years old, did you say?
Yeah.
It could
Mhm.
it could be something that happens to her because with age, you know, because it's quite old for a cat. And
Yes.
but biomusic one should definitely help her to become more, you know, more at peace with herself. We'll see. I would try kinema to start with in any case.
Okay. Thank you.
You, Nancy. That was great.
Welcome.
Eddie, I don't know if you had a question because I noticed that you unmuted yourself. Um, so if you do, Eddie is in Venezuela, so I'm not sure if he may not have meant to do that. So I think that we should probably wrap up. If someone has one more question, we probably have time. Otherwise, and I'm not sure, you can just unmute. I had to put it on gallery view. If anyone wants to unmute, we're down to just a few people. So, okay. Yeah, I think that is good, Jean-Louis. I think that we definitely need to have you back so that we can get more about this and share more about these wonderful testimonials I'll share in the newsletter so that when you come again, we can get an even bigger crowd for you. So this is really exciting.
Anytime. I would love to share more experiences. And in fact, there was something I had planned to show you, but in fact, 2 hours go so fast. It's about it's some filming of the blood uh, of a person who is affected by a disease or by stress, and how with just a few hours of biomusic one, the blood cells change completely. And this really you can do better than that. As I was saying at the beginning, you cannot measure the frequencies, but you can measure the impact in the body. So maybe next time we'll take some time to show those the little videos, and you'll see it's quite amazing to see how the quality of blood changes so quickly. In fact, it has changed to you guys.
Yeah,
Okay, guys, it has
definitely.
changed to you because in a couple of hours, normally we don't have any more oxidative stress in the body. So there you go.
I definitely think, I mean, I feel a lot better. I've got to do work and usually I start getting stressed and I just feel really good and I can't wait to listen to more today. And my dogs, they didn't really do much. They just hung out. But Nika, during the first one, she doesn't usually stay on my lap, but during your whole, you talked for about an hour, she stayed in my lap that entire time, which she never does. So she was feeling the energy ball that was going on while you were doing your presentation. Thank you so much for this, Jean-Louis. And I'm so happy that you made time out of your incredibly busy schedule to come and talk to us. And we're definitely going to invite you back for another talk. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much to you for organizing it. And thank you to everybody for attending. It was a great pleasure. Have a wonderful day and
Yes.
see you next time.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Leah. This was wonderful. Thank
Yeah, thank you so much.
everybody. Bye.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Kristen. Bye. Bye, Eddie. Bye, Sherry. Bye-bye. Bye, T. Thank you so much. Bye, Jean-Louis.
Bye, Leah. Speak soon. All
Yeah.
the best.
Okay, bye.